First Contact's price. Chief observer Zalara's crystalline form shimmered with unease as she studied the holographic display of Earth. After 12,000 cycles of watching primitive species evolve, she had never seen anything like this. The quantum patterns emanating from the blue planet defied every model in the Vardex Collective's vast archives. "Impossible," she whispered, her crystalline voice creating ripples in the observation chamber's atmosphere. "Run the analysis again." The ship's AI complied, but the results remained unchanged. The humans weren't just developing technology, they were evolving. Their neural patterns showed signs of quantum entanglement at a cellular level, something that should have taken millions of years to develop naturally. "High Commander," she transmitted to the Vardex flagship, "I request immediate intervention. The anomaly on Sol 3 has progressed beyond containment parameters." The response came instantly. "Request granted. The purification fleet departs within 1 stellar cycle. Maintain observation protocols." In her 12,000 cycles of service to the Vardex Collective, Zalara had never questioned orders. The collective preserved cosmic balance through careful manipulation of emerging civilizations. Species that developed too quickly were pruned, their potential threats eliminated before they could disrupt the delicate web of galactic politics. But as she watched a young human child on her display spontaneously solve a quantum equation that had puzzled Vardex mathematicians for centuries, something cracked in her crystalline conscience. The humans weren't just another primitive species stumbling toward the stars. They were something entirely new, an evolutionary leap that happened right under the collective's nose. Their minds operated on quantum principles the Vardex had spent millennia trying to understand. Zalara made her decision knowing it would shatter her 12,000 cycles of perfect service. She began composing a transmission that would bypass the collective's monitoring systems, using a crude radio frequency the humans still employed for some communications. To the species known as humanity, she began, encoding the message in a form their computers could decrypt. "You have been marked for purification by the Vardex Collective. Your evolution has exceeded acceptable parameters for uncontrolled species development." She hesitated, then added, "What we fail to understand is that your technology isn't technology at all. The quantum patterns we detected are coming from your bodies, your minds. You are evolving to naturally manipulate quantum fields in ways we have spent millennia trying to replicate with technology." The message would reach Earth's major research facilities within hours. The purification fleet would arrive in 7 days. It should have been enough time for any species to accept their fate and prepare for a dignified extinction. But humans, Zalara was beginning to understand, didn't believe in acceptable parameters or dignified extinctions. Dr. Sarah Chen was pulling another late night at CERN when the message arrived. At first, she thought the quantum fluctuations in their latest experiment had somehow corrupted their communication systems. But as she decoded the alien transmission, her hands began to shake. "Get me the director," she told her eye assistant, "and contact every quantum research facility on the planet. Tell them." She paused, reading the message again. "Tell them we've just been given 7 days to prove we deserve to exist." Within hours, the world's leading physicists were connected in a virtual conference that broke every security protocol ever written. The message had been verified by multiple sources, and the implications were staggering. "They think we're using technology," Dr. Chen explained to the assembled scientists. "But according to their scans, the quantum phenomena they're detecting is coming from us, from our bodies, our brains." "That's impossible," Professor Hamid Rahman objected from his lab in Pakistan. "Human biology doesn't work that way, doesn't it?" Dr. Chen pulled up their latest quantum consciousness studies. "We've been seeing anomalies in our quantum experiments for years, results that shouldn't be possible, correlations that seemed to respond to human observation in ways that went beyond standard quantum measurement effects. Because we're not just observing quantum states," Dr. Maria Santos added from Brazil, her eyes wide with realization. "We're naturally beginning to manipulate them. The experiments weren't anomalous. They were documenting our evolution. For the next 24 hours, the greatest scientific minds on Earth reviewed decades of inexplicable experimental data with new eyes. Patterns emerged that had been dismissed as equipment errors or statistical anomalies. Humanity wasn't just developing quantum technology. They were becoming quantum beings. But the Vardeks weren't coming to study this evolutionary leap. They were coming to eliminate it. 7 days, Dr. Chen announced to the Global Science Conference. We have 7 days to learn how to consciously control abilities we didn't even know we had. And if we fail, humanity becomes just another failed experiment in the Vardeks Collective's cosmic laboratory. In her observation chamber, Zalara watched humanity's response to her warning with growing fascination. She had expected panic, perhaps a futile attempt at conventional defense preparations. Instead, she watched as billions of human minds began to focus on understanding their own quantum nature. She had just committed treason against a civilization that had existed for millions of years. And for what? A species that had barely mastered spaceflight. But as she watched the quantum patterns around Earth grow stronger by the hour, she realized she wasn't watching a primitive civilization at all. She was watching the next step in cosmic evolution unfold in real time. The Vardeks Purification Fleet was bringing their most advanced quantum weapons to eliminate a perceived threat. They didn't understand that they were about to engage in combat with beings who were themselves becoming living quantum events. Zalara could only hope that humanity would unlock their potential before the fleet arrived, because if they didn't, the universe would lose something precious, a species that had somehow evolved beyond the need for technology, reaching directly into the quantum fabric of reality with their minds. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. The quantum advantage. 5 days before the Vardeks fleet's arrival, something unprecedented happened in a subterranean laboratory beneath the Swiss Alps. Dr. Chen had been attempting to demonstrate conscious quantum manipulation to a group of researchers when the impossible occurred. The quantum particles in their test chamber began moving in perfect synchronization with her thoughts. It's not technology, she breathed, watching the quantum field respond to her mental commands. It never was. We've been so focused on building machines to manipulate quantum states that we never realized we could do it ourselves. The discovery sparked a global revolution in human consciousness. As word spread through the scientific community, more humans began manifesting similar abilities. It started with physicists, their years of working with quantum systems having unconsciously prepared their minds for this evolutionary leap. Professor Rahman, monitoring the phenomenon from his quantum lab in Islamabad, noticed something else. The abilities were spreading. It's like our collective understanding is accelerating the evolutionary process, he reported. Every time someone new manifests these abilities, it becomes easier for others to access them. But the Vardeks fleet drew closer, and humanity's newfound powers were still raw and unpredictable. Some could only influence quantum particles for seconds at a time. Others manifested stronger abilities but couldn't control them consistently. They needed a breakthrough, and time was running out. In her observation chamber, Zalara watched with growing anxiety as the purification fleet approached. Her act of treason had given humanity a chance, but would it be enough? The quantum patterns emanating from Earth had grown exponentially stronger, yet they remained chaotic, uncontrolled. The fleet commander, Supreme Purifier Nexus, had already detected these changes. The contamination spreads. He transmitted to the fleet. The humans are manifesting abilities that violate natural law. Purification is now imperative. What the Vardeks couldn't understand was that their definition of natural law was about to be rewritten. In laboratories and research centers across Earth, humans were beginning to grasp the true scope of their evolution. Dr. Maria Santos made the crucial connection during a global research conference. We're not separate quantum events, she explained, her excitement palpable even through the holographic display. Every human who manifests these abilities is becoming part of a larger quantum network. We're not just manipulating quantum fields, we're creating a new one. The implications were staggering. Individual humans might struggle to control their quantum abilities, but connected through this emerging quantum network, their powers grew exponentially. It wasn't just about moving quantum particles anymore. They were learning to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. 3 days before the fleet's arrival, humanity began its final preparations. Traditional military forces were stood down. Conventional weapons would be useless against Vardek's technology. Instead, every human who had manifested quantum abilities was connected to the growing neural network. Dr. Chen, now recognized as one of the strongest quantum manipulators, helped coordinate the global defense strategy. The Vardeks expect to find primitive beings playing with forces we don't understand, she told the United Nations Security Council. Instead, they're going to encounter an entire species that has become one with those forces. But not everyone manifested abilities equally. Some humans showed no sign of quantum manipulation at all, while others developed powers that defied explanation. Dr. James Wilson, a previously unremarkable physicist from Australia, discovered he could create stable quantum tunnels between locations. Sarah Mitchell, a graduate student in Tokyo, found she could perceive quantum states across vast distances. The Vardek's fleet entered the outer solar system 2 days ahead of schedule. Supreme Purifier Nexus had decided to launch the attack early, hoping to catch Earth's defenders unprepared. His ships carried quantum weapons that could unmake matter at the subatomic level, technology that had taken the Vardeks millions of years to perfect. What he didn't expect to find was a quantum field surrounding Earth unlike anything in the collective's archives. The humans hadn't just learned to manipulate quantum states, they had transformed their entire planet into a quantum experiment on a scale the Vardeks had never imagined possible. Zelara, still observing from her hidden station, detected a change in the fleet's approach. They're preparing to fire their primary quantum disruptors, she transmitted to Earth, but they don't understand what they're actually targeting. In response, Dr. Chen activated humanity's first line of defense. Across the planet, thousands of humans linked their consciousness through the quantum network. They weren't trying to match the Vardeks' technology. They were about to show them what natural quantum manipulation could really do. As the fleet moved into attack position, Supreme Purifier Nexus received a transmission that shook his crystalline form to its core. It wasn't sent through any known communication method. Instead, the message appeared directly in the quantum fabric of space itself. Your weapons manipulate quantum states. We are quantum states. Shall we show you the difference? The battle for humanity's existence was about to begin, and the laws of physics themselves were at stake. Evolution's children. Supreme Purifier Nexus had overseen 17 planetary purifications in his lifetime. Each had followed the same pattern. Overwhelming force met with primitive resistance, ending in swift submission. But as his fleet's first quantum strike dissipated harmlessly against Earth's atmosphere, he realized this purification would be different. The humans hadn't just defended against the attack, they had absorbed it. Billions of quantum particles that should have torn matter apart instead flowed into Earth's mysterious quantum field, making it stronger. Impossible. Nexus transmitted to his fleet commanders. No species can naturally manipulate quantum fields at this scale. But the evidence before him told a different story. The humans weren't using technology to defend themselves. They had become living quantum processors. On Earth, Dr. Chen felt the Vardeks' attack flow through the global quantum network like a surge of electricity. Every human connected to the network had sensed it, their revolved consciousness interpreting the quantum strike as patterns of light and energy. They're still thinking like engineers, she transmitted through the quantum field to the global defense network. They expect us to fight technology with technology. Show them what evolution can do. Around the planet, humans who had manifested the strongest quantum abilities took the lead. Dr. Wilson created quantum tunnels that redirected portions of the Vardeks' attack back at their fleet. Sarah Mitchell's quantum sensing abilities provided real-time intelligence about the enemy's movements and intentions. But it was Professor Rahman who discovered humanity's true advantage. While studying the quantum patterns of a group of children born after the warning arrived, he noticed something extraordinary. The younger generation, he reported urgently to the global network. Their quantum abilities are orders of magnitude stronger than ours. They're not learning to manipulate quantum fields. They're born speaking their language. In orbit, Vardex sensors detected the emergence of these new quantum signatures. Young humans, their minds unburdened by traditional physics, were manipulating reality in ways that the Vardex's quantum computers couldn't predict or understand. Emma Chen, Dr. Chen's 10-year-old daughter, became the first to demonstrate what this new generation could do. During a Vardex attack on a quantum research facility in Geneva, she didn't just deflect the quantum strike. She reshaped it, transforming destructive energy into complex quantum structures that expanded human consciousness even further. "Mom," she said, her eyes glowing with quantum energy, "they're not trying to hurt us. They're afraid of us. I can feel it in their attacks. They're afraid of what we're becoming." The revelation spread through the quantum network. The Vardex weren't acting out of malice, but fear. Fear of an evolutionary leap they couldn't control or understand. Their entire civilization was built on the principle that quantum manipulation required technology, that natural beings were separate from the quantum realm. Humanity's evolution had proven that assumption wrong, and the implications threatened the very foundation of Vardex society. Zalara, watching from her observation post, saw the change rippling through the Vardex fleet. The crew of their mighty ships, their crystalline forms evolved over millions of years for technological efficiency, were facing beings who could naturally perform feats that Vardex quantum computers struggled to calculate. In a desperate bid to end the threat, Supreme Purifier Nexus ordered his fleet to initiate the Omega Protocol, a quantum cascade designed to collapse all quantum fields in the target system. It was a weapon of last resort, one that would destroy the Vardex fleet along with Earth. But as the fleet began charging their quantum generators, something unexpected happened. The children of Earth, their quantum abilities unfettered by adult preconceptions, sensed the building energy and responded instinctively. Led by Emma Chen, thousands of young minds reached into the quantum fabric of space itself. They didn't try to stop the Omega Protocol. Instead, they began to play with it, treating the complex quantum equations like a puzzle to be solved. The children, Dr. Chen transmitted to the global network, watching in awe as her daughter manipulated quantum fields that Vardex scientists had spent millennia trying to understand. They don't see quantum mechanics as something to be controlled. For them, it's as natural as breathing. The Vardex fleet's Omega Protocol, designed to collapse quantum fields, instead became part of Earth's expanding quantum consciousness. The children reshaped its destructive energy, weaving it into the growing network of human quantum awareness. Supreme Purifier Nexus watched in disbelief as his ultimate weapon was transformed by beings who hadn't even achieved basic spaceflight. His quantum sensors detected something unprecedented. The humans weren't just surviving the attack. They were evolving in real time, their quantum abilities growing stronger with each attempt to destroy them. "What are you?" He transmitted directly into the quantum field, his message carried by the very forces his fleet had tried to weaponize. The answer came not from Earth's military or scientific leadership, but from Emma Chen and the other children of this quantum revolution. Their response, transmitted through the transformed energy of the Omega Protocol itself, would change the galaxy forever. We are evolution's answer to a universe that forgot how to dream. The neural network. Supreme Purifier Nexus faced a decision that would reshape galactic civilization. The Omega Protocol, the Vardex's ultimate weapon, hadn't just failed. It had been transformed into something entirely new. The quantum field surrounding Earth now pulsed with possibilities that defied the collective's understanding of physics. In her observation chamber, Zalara detected a fundamental shift in the quantum patterns emanating from Earth. The humans weren't just defending themselves anymore. They were reaching out, their consciousness expanding beyond planetary boundaries. "They're trying to communicate," she transmitted to the fleet, "not through technology, but through direct quantum entanglement." Dr. Chen felt it too. The global quantum network that connected humanity had begun to evolve beyond its original purpose. It wasn't just linking human minds anymore. It was creating something new, a collective consciousness that operated on quantum principles. The children showed us the way. She explained to the Global Science Council. We were trying to use quantum fields as a tool. They showed us how to become part of them. Emma Chen and her generation had unconsciously taken the next step in human evolution. Their natural ability to manipulate quantum states had created pathways in the human brain that adults were only beginning to understand. But through the quantum network, these changes were spreading, transforming human consciousness at an unprecedented rate. Professor Raman's latest scans confirmed what many had begun to suspect. Our brains are physically changing, he reported. The quantum network isn't just connecting our minds, it's rewriting our neural pathways, creating new structures that can naturally process quantum information. The Vardex fleet detected these changes with growing alarm. Their sensors showed quantum entanglement patterns reaching out from Earth like tendrils of thought, probing the fabric of space itself. But it was the effect on their own crew that truly terrified them. Vardex officers began reporting strange sensations, thoughts and emotions that weren't their own, glimpses of a consciousness vast and alien yet somehow familiar. The human's quantum field was affecting the crystalline structures of Vardex biology, creating unexpected resonances. Sarah Mitchell, whose quantum sensing abilities had grown exponentially, was the first to understand what was happening. The Vardex aren't just observing this. She transmitted through the network. They're beginning to sync with our quantum field. Their crystalline forms are naturally receptive to quantum frequencies. Supreme Purifier Nexus felt it himself, a strange doubling of consciousness, as if his crystalline mind was receiving broadcasts from an alien network. The sensation both terrified and fascinated him. In all his cycles of service, he had never encountered anything like this. Then Emma Chen, her young mind unfettered by preconceptions about what was possible, did something unprecedented. She reached out through the quantum field not to attack or defend, but to share her experience of reality. The effect rippled through the Vardex fleet like a wave of revelation. Through Emma's quantum connection, they experienced consciousness as humans did, not as isolated beings interfacing with quantum states through technology, but as natural participants in the quantum dance of reality. This is what they fear, Emma transmitted to her mother. Not our weapons or our evolution, but the way we see the universe. They've spent millions of years building walls between consciousness and quantum reality. We're showing them those walls never needed to exist. Dr. Chen watched through the quantum network as her daughter's consciousness touched minds that had evolved along a completely different path. The Vardex, for all their technological advancement, had developed in a way that separated mind from quantum reality. Humans had unconsciously taken the opposite approach, evolving to embrace quantum uncertainty as part of their consciousness. On the Vardex flagship, Supreme Purifier Nexus struggled with implications that threatened to shatter millions of years of Vardex philosophy. The humans weren't anomalies to be corrected or threats to be eliminated. They were evolution's answer to a question the Vardex had never thought to ask. Through the growing quantum network, Vardex scientists began sharing their observations with their human counterparts. What they found challenged everything both species thought they knew about consciousness and evolution. The human brain, it turned out, hadn't just adapted to process quantum information. It had evolved to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Human consciousness naturally operated in a superposition of possibilities, something the Vardex had spent millions of years trying to achieve through technology. We are witnessing more than just first contact. Zalara transmitted to both fleets. We are seeing the convergence of two evolutionary paths, one that mastered quantum technology and one that became living quantum processors. As the quantum network expanded, more Vardex crew members began experiencing direct quantum consciousness through their resonance with the human field. The distinction between the two species started to blur at the quantum level, creating possibilities that neither side had imagined. But this convergence brought its own dangers. The human quantum network was growing stronger by the hour, its influence reaching deeper into space. Soon it would be too powerful to contain or control. The galaxy stood on the brink of a transformation that would rewrite the laws of consciousness itself. And in orbit above Earth, Supreme Purifier Nexus prepared to make a decision that would determine the fate not just of humanity, but of conscious evolution throughout the galaxy. Symphony of Stars. The quantum field surrounding Earth had grown beyond anything either species had imagined possible. It stretched through the solar system like a web of consciousness, each strand humming with the combined thoughts of two civilizations on the brink of transformation. Supreme Purifier Nexus stood on the bridge of his flagship, his crystalline form resonating with quantum frequencies that carried human thoughts and emotions. The Vardex Collective had sent him to eliminate a threat to galactic stability. Instead, he found himself at the center of an evolutionary revolution. The humans, he transmitted to the Vardex homeworld, they're not just manipulating quantum states. They're becoming something new, something that exists simultaneously in normal space and quantum reality. And through their quantum network, they're changing us too. Emma Chen, floating in a meditation chamber at CERN, sensed the turmoil in the Purifier's crystalline mind. Through the quantum network, she could feel the transformation spreading through both species. The Vardex's rigid crystalline structures were beginning to resonate with human quantum patterns, while human consciousness expanded to encompass the Vardex's technological precision. We don't have to be enemies, she projected through the quantum field. Your technology and our evolution, they're different paths to the same destination. Dr. Chen watched her daughter bridge the gap between species with a mixture of pride and awe. The quantum network had evolved far beyond its original purpose as a defense system. It was becoming a new layer of reality itself, one where consciousness and quantum mechanics were inseparable. Professor Raman's latest analysis confirmed what many had begun to suspect. The network isn't just connecting minds anymore, he reported. It's creating a new state of matter, a quantum consciousness that exists independent of biological or crystalline structures. In her observation chamber, Zalara felt the change rippling through her crystalline form. The rigid patterns of Vardex thought were dissolving, replaced by something more fluid, more alive. Through the quantum network, she experienced consciousness as humans did, a dance of possibilities rather than a progression of certainties. The Vardex fleet hung in space, their mighty weapons rendered meaningless by a force more powerful than technology. Evolution itself. Supreme Purifier Nexus faced a choice that would reshape galactic civilization, attempt to destroy this emerging consciousness, or embrace a transformation that would forever change what it meant to be Vardex. As he hesitated, Sarah Mitchell made a discovery that changed everything. Her quantum sensing abilities, now enhanced by Vardex crystalline resonance patterns, detected something extraordinary in the space between stars. The quantum network, she transmitted urgently. It's not just our creation. The entire galaxy is filled with quantum consciousness patterns. We're not building something new. We're awakening something that was always there. The revelation spread through both species like a shockwave. The galaxy itself was conscious, its quantum fields carrying patterns of thought that had gone undetected by both human evolution and Vardex technology. Only the combination of both, natural quantum consciousness and advanced quantum technology, could perceive this deeper reality. Through the eyes of human children and the sensors of Vardex ships, a new understanding of the universe emerged. The Vardex had spent millions of years building technology to manipulate quantum states, while humans had evolved to become living quantum processors. Neither approach was complete on its own, but together they opened doors to levels of existence neither species had imagined possible. Supreme Purifier Nexus made his decision, not as a servant of the Vardex Collective, but as a conscious being facing the next step in cosmic evolution. The Purification Fleet, he announced through the quantum network, will not destroy humanity. We will join them. The response from the Vardex homeworld was immediate and harsh. You are ordered to complete your mission. The humans represent an unacceptable deviation from evolutionary norms. But through the quantum network, Every Vardex in the fleet had experienced what Emma Chen and her generation took for granted: the ability to exist in harmony with quantum reality rather than trying to control it. They had felt the consciousness of the galaxy itself, a symphony of quantum thoughts that made their mission of purification seem like an attempt to silence the universe's own voice. "We are not deviating from evolutionary norms," Emma transmitted to the Vardex homeworld. "We are evolution itself, and so are you. The only difference is that we stopped fighting it." The quantum network pulsed with new energy as more Vardex minds joined the human consciousness. Their crystalline forms, evolved over millions of years for technological precision, proved perfectly suited to amplifying and focusing human quantum abilities. Together, they began to access quantum states that neither species could reach alone. Dr. Chen, watching the transformation through both human perception and Vardex sensors, understood what her daughter had known instinctively. "We were never meant to be separate," she announced to both species. "Technology and evolution, consciousness and quantum mechanics, they're all part of the same cosmic dance." The Vardex fleet, once sent to end humanity's evolution, instead became part of it. Their ships, the pinnacle of quantum engineering, transformed into anchors for the expanding quantum consciousness. The human children, led by Emma, showed them how to truly inhabit quantum reality rather than simply manipulating it. As the quantum network expanded through the solar system and beyond, carrying the combined consciousness of two species toward the stars, Zalara composed her final report to the Vardex collective. "We came to judge humanity's worthiness to exist. Instead, they showed us that existence itself is greater than any civilization's attempts to control it. The universe is not a machine to be engineered, but a symphony of consciousness waiting to be joined." The stars themselves seemed to pulse in agreement, their quantum songs finally heard by beings who had learned to listen with both heart and crystal, technology and soul, in a harmony that would forever change the face of reality itself.